Monday morning. It's always great to get started on a new week, but to finish up Delaware week, I think when I watch the tape, I see exactly what I kind of saw on the sideline there. We didn't play our best game. When you look at getting better from game 4 to game 5, I didn't really see it out there. Why? Again, I'll give you the same answer maybe I gave you after the game is, I think it comes down to emotions. I think, our guys didn't play the best game they could have. I think, you better have your mind right. I don't think our guys really did. The positive out of the whole thing is we were still able to get a win, and that's all that matters is a win. And, call it ugly, call it what you want. It's a win, and it's nice when you don't play very good and you still win. That's the beautiful thing about it. So that's really all I got to say about that. Obviously defensively, I thought we played solid. They had 2 short fields, so nothing's changed there. It was good to get Nick Patty out there and find out what he's got. Again, played a solid game. Would not say he's, all ACC pick this week, but he was solid. And again, it's the first time, probably, like any starting quarterback getting his first snaps as a starting quarterback. And obviously we were a little shorthanded Saturday. I think that all plays a part. Emotionally as well, and we'll find out where we are this week. As you guys know, I won't talk about it, but we were shorthanded. We'll find out, how shorthanded we'll be this week. So, and then it's on to Duke, and we're playing a 3-1 Duke football team that lost to the number 1 team in the country in the opener. Had 450 yards of offense, I believe, that day. Gave Duke problems, offensively as you watch the tape. They struggled to cover some of their guys. Across the board. And again, Coach Cutcliffe does a great job. He's one of the best in the country. He's a quarterback guru. Obviously, he's got one playing for the New York Giants that everybody didn't think Daniel was very good, but I guess he's pretty good. I thought he was pretty good last year when he had some pretty darn good numbers against us. This Quentin Harris, their quarterback this year, who's kind of a wildcat guy a year ago, is a really, really good football player. He's very accurate with his passes. He can run better than a Daniel Jones. They'd like to run him. I think he's their leading rusher as well. Zach Roper and obviously Coach Cut, who I think both call that offense together, game plan together. I think they're one of the best in the country. I really do. Just schematically what they try to do to you. They don't do too much. They what they do. They know what they're doing. They're very detailed in the way they run routes, how they kind of stem around. I mean, they're very, very good. It'll be a challenge Saturday night for sure. And defensively, they got 8 returning starters, and Ben Albert, one of their co-defense coordinators I've known for a long time, and I think they're about as good as they've been ever that I've seen a Duke football team on defense. They're, again, 8 returning starters. You would think that would be the case. Up front, I think they got some guys. They're impressive, really, top to bottom, offensively, defensively, and special teams. So we got a lot of work to do this week to get prepared for the Blue Devils. Questions?
Kyle, can he play this week?
No, again, I thought he played last week, so I don't know. And again, I'm not going to already in my opening statement talked about we're going to find out. I don't know. I wish I could tell you everything, but I can't tell you. I don't know. What's that?
Is he feeling better every?
Next question. Here we go. Pat Bostic, you got a question, Pat? I don't know. Doesn't matter. He felt good Saturday. I thought he was going. So done. What do you guys got? Duke's really good.
You had how many games they'll never beat you while you were coaching, right?
I don't know.
But
Worried about 2019. It doesn't matter.
How's Duke different this year?
You know what? They're, again, they're a year older. I think they're, they got veterans on defense for sure. They don't have as many veterans on offense. They like to run the football. They like their RPOs. I don't think offensively they're much different. I don't think defensively, schematically, they do what they do. They're a veteran staff. I guess the biggest, it's a great question, Jerry. The biggest difference they've got is, everybody thought Paul Johnson was gone, okay, and had retired and playing a lot of golf and playing some gin, after golf and all those things. Coach Cut's taken over for Paul Johnson. They got a series. We'll expect probably. We're going to expect probably 10 to 15 snaps of the spread offense, the Georgia Tech offense. Each week it seems they add a little bit more to it. So it gets you, you got to go back to, your Georgia Tech game plan and find out what you want to do against what they do. And again, their quarterback Harris can run it. He's good at it. They started off in the opener against Alabama. I think ran 12 snaps in that game and had some success. And the more success they have, the more you're going to see it. So we've got to nail that down, try to take them out of that and let them get back to their normal offense, obviously, unless we want to practice Georgia Tech all week. So we're playing Duke/Georgia Tech this week. That's how they're different.
You end up watching film and video from every game they've done as played this season?
Yeah, and obviously we've played 5, they've played 4, and they're they lost their opener, won 3 straight. So we've watched we'll go back, we'll watch 4 games. We'll watch Pitt for the last 4 years. We're going to watch every game they played this year. We'll tag into some plays last year, and games and trick plays. It's pretty extensive. We'll go back and look at all their trick plays they've run, any explosives. We'll look at everything.
How can you get the return game down better this week?
You know what? We've faced some good punters. When you look at kickoff, I mean, it's hard to get it started when the ball is kicked out of the end zone all the time. We put A.J. Woods back there last week. Not because Maurice French wasn't doing a good job. It's just to give Maurice French a blow. At least he doesn't have to run all the way from the sideline all the way 50 yards to get down to the end zone to watch that thing go over his head and go out of the end zone. So each week we evaluate that, and again, we gave A.J. that opportunity because he's fast. He may be the fastest guy on our football team, and he's playing other special teams and he can catch kickoffs. But obviously, we have to get it going. Our punt return is one of the ones that you'd like to get going. If you came back and watched the tape like we watched as a team last night and watched some of the blocks we have, I'm really in both phases, both return games. We're 1 or 2 blocks, or we're a hold away from, popping a few, and we're not executing properly. And I think it comes down to everybody thinks a returner's got to be a great one. It's not just a returner; it's the other 10 guys doing what they're supposed to do to get those blocks, and it's also the returner hitting it where he needs to go.
In Delaware game, you all opted for a 57-yard field goal instead of going for it on 47. How much was that decision impacted by not having Kenny and not having
I think it was, you're in that iffy position. You're kind of like, 4th and 7's a long way to go. I don't really want to punt it. And, and he's got we know he's got the leg. And I thought his rhythm, I thought everything was really good with Kess. And, by no means are we saying, what are you doing, Kess, missing a 57-yarder? So, it's not like the weeks before. I mean, he hit his, 21-yarder or whatever it was early. I don't think any coach, period, in the country should hold a 57-yarder against somebody. But he had the leg, and it's just giving those opportunities. So when we get those opportunities, it's one of those in-betweens. You got to try to go take some points.
Pat, you guys have 4 running backs listed here as borders on the depth chart. Is that health related, do you think?
That thought.
You guys, I mean, what do you think it is? Yeah. John, at least you're new. You're like wondering, so I'll give you that.
Nick Patty was 9 of 13, completed 9 of 13 passes on 3rd down, and 7 of them went for first downs. Obviously, had the 3rd and 17 connection to Tayseer. What did you see out of Nick in those situations, in third down situations?
Obviously he made some plays when we needed to, obviously, the game plan gets slimmed down a little bit when he's in there. You're not going to ask him to do everything that Kenny would do, and I think that's the great thing about, one of the reasons I hired, Coach Whipple is, his development of a quarterback, his detail and care into each one is a separate guy. It's not they all run the same offense, and he's done it before. He's developed those. So to say I'm surprised that Nick went in and operated and performed like he did, not surprised, just because I've seen him do it. He played with 3 quarterbacks. If you looked at their stats at UMass last year, you'd go, okay, he's done this before. So he does a good job at developing them and doing what they can do, not just throwing them to the wolves out there and letting them throw stuff that maybe he's not, really good with right now at this point in his career.
We've seen out of Patrick Jones in 4 hurries. It seemed like he was in every other play out there.
Yeah, Patrick's played well. I mean, he's played well all year. Defensively, you take away some minus, or some plus territory touchdowns. I mean, we're probably, holding people's score down. This is going to be a challenge this week, that's for sure. These guys are scoring in the 40s every week, and this will be our biggest challenge to this day. But Patrick Jones got to have a great game. The one thing about Duke is they've given up 1 sack on the year. So they're getting the ball out quick, out of Quentin's hands, and they're not taking negative plays. So they throw it quick.
Cause you to change your defensive strategy with the quarterback really quick?
You know, I mean, you hope you can continue to do what you do. You know, if you change it, you know, we probably won't be very good at change. You know, change is hard. You know, your wife knows that. She's tried to change you for how many years now? You haven't changed. So it's just, you know, it's like, who are you? What do you do well? Let's do it better, and let's hope we can get some sacks.
Delaware was the fourth game that the defense hasn't forced any turnovers. Is there anything that you can do from a preparation standpoint to maybe force more on the field on game days?
You know what? You know, there's a couple tiny little things. You'll see one time Eric Howell comes through. If you go back and watch the videotape that I've got, and he's trying to lay the quarterback out and put his face on the quarterback and his chest. But if he does this, you know, he can knock the ball out. And again, I know my hand is going to get to this mic a lot quicker than my chest is going to get there. And we got to knock the ball out. So there's a couple things like that we just got to continue to hammer in our kids' hands. But you know, sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. I'm not, you know, going crazy over it. You can't. You'd like to get more. We'd like to go, you know, dunk a basketball or football, whatever you want to do. But we just, you know, it is what it is. You know, DeMar Hamlin, you know, second play of the game, I believe he's got a chance to take a pick six, but he undercuts it and doesn't make the tackle. So you start talking about just going to get the ball. You know, I get worried that, you know, they're going to get the ball and you know, and they miss, and then the guy turns and runs for a touchdown. So it's kind of, you know, you got to take what they give you, and you know, we continue every week to do the same thing as far as trying to get the ball out, you know, in our team periods, and we just got to keep going. Things will happen.
A few places out in New Jersey mentioned you as a candidate at Rutgers. What's your reaction to something like that?
I signed a long-term contract here a few years ago, and my daughter's a senior in high school right now. She'll be a freshman next year in college, and you know, I'm here at Pitt, and I'm staying at Pitt. So it's real simple.
When you use the special Central Florida game, does that have a tendency?
How many weeks ago was that?
What's that?
How many weeks ago was that? See, that's the problem. You guys keep bringing this stuff up, and our guys are still thinking about the Pitt special. You probably put a design on the, you know, that's the problem. Everybody, you know, they're, you know, whatever. Go ahead.
Deals with the future.
Okay.
Does it loosen when you get inside the five? No, the defense doesn't play like that in your repertoire. Does that loosen them up a little bit?
No. No. They're probably thinking they were never going to run that play again. So they're like, oh, good. I'm glad they wasted it on UCF. I wonder what else they got.
So then you're running, right?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Is Harris similar to Bryce Perkins, and how have all these global quarterbacks kind of prepared you for this, and how do you feel like you guys have done against running quarterbacks this year?
You know what? Again, you know, the opener in Perkins, you know, I think is a different deal. But, you know, Henderson last week, I told you that guy was a good football player. That guy can run. He's impressive. He's got moxie. I really like. We've played some good quarterbacks this year. I mean, you look at what we've faced so far. I think everybody prepares you. You know, this team's a little bit different. Their drop's not as deep. I mean, there's sometimes that quarterback was at 14 yards running sideways just to get the heck out of the pocket. This one's got a little shorter, you know, as far as dropping the pocket and all that. So it's all different. But this guy can run, and they like to run the ball. They like to, you know, read the ends and find out if the quarterback's going to keep it. So there's, you know, it's certainly going to help us. That's for sure.
Given what your defense has done so far with us, or the numbers it's been putting up, does it in some small way, or even bigger way, remind you of some of your defenses they had the final few years at Michigan State?
You know, you guys ask, I think, this question every week, and I could probably give you the same answer. You know, first of all, it's Randy Bates' defense, and our defensive staff's defense. I'm just sitting there watching and critiquing, but you know, we'll find out at the end of the year. I mean, if Duke puts up another 619 yards on us this week, what do you think I'm going to say next Monday? You know, so you know, we'll find out. We get graded every week. Nobody cares what we did against Delaware. Nobody cares about Central Florida and the Pitt special. Nobody cares about the week before or the week before that. Right now, all I care about is Duke, and we got to focus on Duke. It doesn't matter where our defense is going to be or our offense at the end of the year. It doesn't matter. All that stuff, you know, we need to throw that stuff out the doors, out the windows, and let our kids focus on Duke, because if we don't focus on Duke, None of that stuff matters. At the end of the year, we'll grade it. We'll sit down. We'll have an hour press conference. We can talk about all the stats. I'll pull the stat sheets up and we'll look at them all together and we'll analyze them. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And our defense staff and Randy Bates have done a tremendous job. They've done a great job game planning, putting our kids in position to make plays. But I don't care what you did last week. If you guys are going to get fat and happy in the staff room over there and start eating cheeseburgers, having the GAs go out and get some donuts, for lunch instead of worrying about stopping Duke, which is not going to happen. Our guys work their tails off, and it's 1 week at a time, and it's a process. And I don't ever go sit in a staff meeting, pull the stats up, and go, look at guys, we're number 1 here, we're number 88 here. It doesn't matter, because a lot of times all those stats are based on who you played and who you didn't play. And great question though, Craig.
Well, no, but
I like cream donuts too.
guys
If you
have
go
played
out
some
and
good
get some.
teams, though.
We'll say it again.
The thing is you guys have played some good teams. I mean, you played Penn State.
I know, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you're only as good as your last week. Okay, like I said, the 619 yards, it doesn't matter. Right now, when I look at that tape, I get sick, and I think we're a crappy defense. So we'll find out what we get this weekend. And we'll evaluate them week by week, and then at the end of the year, we'll find out who we got. Same thing offensively. Same thing with our punt team. Same thing. I mean, it doesn't matter. 1 week our punt team is good. 1 week, they show weakness. 1 week we get, a block punt. The next week you get 2 block punts. And then what are they going to do this week? It doesn't matter what they did last week. We're going to rough the punter again. We're going to hit the punter. Maybe we take one to the house. Is it going to cost us a first down? I'm worried. The stat I'm worried about is they had 15 first downs last week, and 5 of them were by defensive penalty. That to me, that drives me. They got 4 first downs by running the ball and got 5 by penalty. That ain't good. Those are what I'm looking at. I'm grading those things. I'm looking at all the bad stuff. We got to get better.
You like the fact that you're going to be playing enough of the ACC teams the rest of the way?
Yeah, I am. I think it's kind of a new year now. It's kind of starts. We opened up with an ACC team, which is always tough, I think, for either team. If you lose the game, but now we're back into, trying to go back to Charlotte sometime. And each one of these next games counts. And I think our kids understand what they're playing for, the next several weeks. So I'm excited about getting back in the ACC. You're familiar with who they are. Kids know who they are. They can watch the tape from last year and see what they did or didn't do, and go, okay, I better strap it up and get ready to go.
Pat Saturday was the 3rd time this year that you guys have had 6 sacks in a game. In your previous 4 years, I think you guys have 4 such games. So how is this front 7, not just the front 4, but the front 7, because Kylan's getting in there too.
Yeah.
How is this front 7 kind of different than what you guys have had in the past?
Again, the sacks, front 7 is detailed. Again, we gave up some sacks as well, so I'm looking at the bad parts of it. But the front 7 has done a nice job. But the thing, if you go back and watch the tape on some of those sacks, the quarterback's like, there's times where he's even taking that hand off the ball, wants to go, and he's like, ooh, I can't, and then he gets hit. So it's coverage sacks as well as, guys beating people one-on-one. So it's a combination. It takes 11, and it's a super question. It takes 11 all the time. And we can have, Jalen Twine can come and run him through the A-gap untouched, but if it's crappy coverage and he throws the ball, it's kind of like, doesn't matter. So coverage sacks are what matter. And Duke's got 1 sack they've given up all year. They're getting the ball out quick. Quarterback's making a great decision. How good is the coverage? I don't know. We got to have good coverage. We're not going to get a sack either, like everybody else.
There was a law signed in California today that would allow college athletes to be able to collect endorsement money and potentially have aid. But I don't know if we've ever talked about these kind of topics, but would you, down the line potentially be in favor of something like that where you're?
We'll talk about it after the season. I mean, I'm worried about stopping Duke and their empty sets and their bone formations option. I haven't read that today. I haven't looked at the news. I have no idea. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know. That's something we'll talk about, I'm sure, as an ACC conference later on. But I've got no comment on that. I mean, we're not in California. Neither is Duke. So I don't know. Sorry, I can't answer that. I don't even know anything about it.
Anything else regarding this week's game?
Coach, Quinn Harris leads the ACC in completion percentage. If you look at the tape, is Duke mainly throwing passes around the line of scrimmage within 10 yards, or are they trying to push the ball further?
They do both. Now, he throws, a couple weeks ago, we talked about that guy throwing some balls up. Quentin will throw it up. He'll throw the deep ball. He'll throw intermediate routes. He throws all the balls. I mean, he really, He throws it all over the place. You know, they love to line up and empty and spread you out. They're going to run quarterback draw. They're going to dink you all over the place, and then they're going to take shots. So they do a little bit of everything. You know, he's a good football player, and you know, he's just another talented quarterback in the ACC. So we got our hands full with him for sure. He's throwing it everywhere.